Hi, welcome to Code with Z. In today's video, we gotta modify this matrix that we have here. Why? Well, because that's what LeetCode 73 said matrix zeros is asking us to do. As you can see, it says, given an m by n integer matrix called matrix, if an element is 0, set its row and column to zeros. And here it says we must do it in place. So what does this even mean? Well, we're given this matrix here. We can see that we have a 0, and we basically have to convert this matrix into this matrix here. And as you can see, this is the difference. Because we had a 0 here, we turn everything in this row and this column into 0. As you can see, everything in this row and this column is 0. And this is the only thing that we need to do. So let's see how you can actually do it. So our approach is going to be that we're going to find the position of this 0 inside of our matrix. So first we're going to loop through our matrix, and we're going to find where 0 is. And then we're going to store its position. Where are we going to store it? Well, in a variable called positions that's going to be equal to an empty array. So let me visualize this for you. We're going to loop through this matrix that we have here. So the first time is going to be this cell. We're going to be looping through this, and we're going to be like, is 1 equal to 0? Not really. So we're going to be like, all right, next. Is 1 equal to 0? Nope. Next. Is 1 equal to 0? Nope. Is 1 equal to 0? Nope. Is 0 equal to 0? Well, would you look at that? Yep, 0 is equal to 0. So let's get the position of this cell. Well, this cell is in the second row, and the index of this row is going to be 1 because our rows are 0 indexed. So the row is going to be 1, and the column is also going to be 1 because the column is the second column, and our columns are also 0 indexed. So the index of this column is going to be 1. So 1 and 1, and this is going to be the position of our 0. And then we're going to keep on looping because we want to see if we have other zeros. We can have multiple zeros in our matrix. Is 1 equal to 0? Nope. Is 1 equal to 0? Nope. Is 1 equal to 0? Nope. And is 1 equal to 0? Nope. Okay, we're done, and we know the position of our zeros. We're going to grab this position, and we're going to be like, we're going to loop through the matrix. And when we find any row that has the index of this number, which is index 1, so any row that has the index of 1, we're going to turn everything there into zeros. So let's check. Does this row has the index of 1? Nope. This row has the index of 0. And then we're going to check this one. We're going to ask, does this row has the index of 1? Well, yeah. So we're going to turn everything into zeros. And then we're going to check this one. Does this row has the index of 1? Not really. So we're going to ignore it. And then we're going to move to the columns. We're going to find the column that has the index of 1, and we're going to turn everything there into zeros. So we're going to be like, does this column has the index of 1? Not really. This column has the index of 0. So we're going to ignore it, and we're going to move on to the next one, like so. And we're going to ask, does this column has the index of 1? Well, yeah. So we're going to turn everything here into zeros, and we're going to keep on moving. We're going to say, does this column has the index of 1? Not really. So we're going to just ignore it, and we're going to be done with it. And this is going to be it. Now let's jump into the code, and let's code this in the simplest way possible. Alrighty, so the first thing that we need to do is to find the position of the zeros that we're going to have. So we're going to define our array, and we're going to call it positions, and this is going to be equal to an empty array. And then we're going to loop through our matrix, just like we saw on the slides. We're going to say for let I being equal to 0, and we want to keep on looping as long as I is smaller or equal to matrix.length minus 1 and I++ on each round. Here we're going to be like, for let j being equal to 0. This is going to be a nested loop because we want to loop through all of the cells that we have here. So for let j being equal to 0, and we want to keep on looping as long as j is smaller or equal to the number of columns that we have. So matrix at the index of 0 dot length minus 1, and we want to increment j on each round. Here we're going to have one simple line. We're going to say if the current position that we're at, so matrix at the index of I and j, is equal to 0, positions dot push the I and j that we found. So we basically push this inside of our array that we have here, just like we saw in the slides. After this loop, after we've found all of the zeros, we're going to have another loop that's not inside of these loops that we have here. This is separate. We're going to say for let k being equal to 0, and we want to keep on looping as long as k is smaller or equal to positions dot length minus 1, meaning we're going to be looping through the positions that we've found. And each time we do that, we're going to be like, let's get the row and the column that we found. So const row call being equal to positions at the index of k. So this is going to give us the row that we found and the column that we found. And here we need to set any cells that are inside those rows and columns into zeros. So we're going to say for let I being equal to 0, and we want to keep on looping as long as I is smaller or equal to matrix dot length -1 and I++. So we basically loop through all of the rows that we have. And to loop through all of the rows, we're going to say matrix at the index of I. And because I is going to change, that means we basically loop through all of the rows that we have here, as you can see in the picture. So the first row, then second row, then third row. And we're going to say, when we're actually looping through the rows, we want to get the column that we found and set it to 0. So any cell that basically has this column, we want it to be equal to 0. And we got our column from our positions. And after this, we're going to have a separate loop. We're going to say for let j being equal to 0. And we want to keep on looping as long as j is smaller or equal to matrix at the index of 0, dot length -1. And we want to keep on incrementing j on each round. Here we're going to be like, let me scroll down a bit and drag this to the left. We're going to say matrix at the row that we know a 0 exists at. So basically the row that we have our 0 at, and dynamic value for the columns, this should be equal to 0. And what this is going to do is that it's going to pick one row. For example, this row that we have here in the picture, as you can see, and it's going to loop through the columns and it's going to turn everything into 0. And this here goes through all of the rows that we have here, and it's going to pick the column that we have the 0 at, for example, this one, and it's going to turn everything into 0, like so. And this is going to be it. Now let's run this and see if we're going to get accepted. Moment of truth. And I hope I've not made any typos. Awesome. We got accepted. And let's submit this and see if we're going to get accepted as well and pass all the test cases. Drum roll, please. Just kidding. Yep, that's awesome. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep on coding.